Before you spend a single dollar on that renovation, stop. I've seen homeowners lose $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 on upgrades they thought would add value to their home, but actually destroyed the resale value of their property. Now, I've flipped houses, I've managed renovations, and I've watched people make the same painful mistakes over and over again. So today, I'm breaking down the worst home upgrades that you will regret and what to do instead so you don't light your money on fire. If we haven't met yet, my name is Danny DePettit. I'm with the Living in Houston, Texas Suburbs channel, and I am a local real estate agent in the Houston area. And in addition to that, I've been flipping houses and managing renovations for years. I've been involved with hundreds of rehab projects, everything from light cosmetic flips to full gut renovation. And I've seen projects that actually move the needle when you sell, and some which are just expensive mistakes. And I'm also constantly watching data, national data on real estate trends, things like cost versus value report, where they track what different home renovations cost and how much of that money you actually get back when you sell. For example, back in 2024, they said that an upscale primary suite addition averages almost $340,000, and that only recoups you 24% at resale. That means that you spend over 300 grand on this renovation, and you're only gonna see about 80,000 back when you sell. And so in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the worst offenders, the horrible upgrades that you will regret if resale value matters to you. And I'll also give you some smarter alternatives. So let's start with a big one. Massive additions, especially luxury primary suite or bathroom additions. Now, according to the 2024 cost versus value data, a mid-range primary suite addition runs you around $160,000+, and that's nationwide. And it only recoups about 35 to 36% of the cost when you resell the property. Now, upscale versions, right, higher end homes, these are gonna be even worse. The average luxury primary suite addition is gonna run you $340,000, and it's only gonna recoup about 24% of that. Now, bathroom additions, they aren't much better. A mid-range bathroom remodel runs about 58,000 and only gets you about 35% of that added value back. Now, an upscale bathroom addition drops in the low 30% range, and as you can imagine, a luxury bathroom addition is going to be a much higher cost. So if you're thinking about adding a primary suite or bathroom purely because you think it'll pay for itself when you sell, it probably won't. And here's why. Most of the homes in your neighborhood were probably built in the same time, and most of them are probably around the same square footage. Now, there's going to be some varying degrees of that, and there's also probably a value of properties in your area. And if you add that addition, you're going to highly exceed what the values are in your area, and nobody wants to be the highest priced property in your area for resale. It just never happens. You're not going to recoup the money that you put into these massive additions. Now, does that mean that you should never add square footage? Not necessarily. If you are planning on living in that home long term and you value the extra space and that lifestyle, then go ahead and do it. But if you're thinking like an investor and planning to move in the next few years, these big additions are often a terrible return on investment. So what can I do instead? What's a smart alternative to adding a massive addition? Well, one of the things to consider is bringing in an architect or a structural engineer and just reconfiguring your existing floor plan. This can often create more space. It can create openness by pulling down a wall, adding some structural beams, just reconfiguring the square footage you often have. That's going to often be a lot less cost, and you're going to see a big return on your investment on that. So those options, usually cost less per square foot and don't blow up your resale math. And you'll end up getting some of that money back when you do go to resale. Okay, number 2 on our list of renovations to avoid is the over-the-top luxury kitchen in a non-luxury neighborhood. Now, I'm talking about a major upscale kitchen remodel. Think about custom cabinets, designer appliances, fancy stone, reconfiguring walls, built-in espresso machines, waterfall marble everywhere, custom everything. The type of remodel that's going to average about 150,000 or more, but you're only going to typically get about 30% of that back based on national averages. And the problem isn't the kitchen themselves, because we all know that a mid-range kitchen remodel can have a very decent return. And it's often something that I advise my clients to do some very modest upgrades to their kitchen, and you're going to see a good return on that. The problem is when you overbuild for the neighborhood. You're going to put $150,000 into a kitchen in a neighborhood where the highest sale is $400,000. It just doesn't make sense, and buyers just aren't willing to pay that top dollar for every high-end finish that you like. Now consider that they may not even like what you chose. And so I've walked into some flips where you put a chef's kitchen with imported stone, built-in espresso bars, and custom cabinetry, and it's the most expensive house on the block. But guess what? It ends up sitting on the market, and they end up discounting the price until all that extra money, all that money they thought they were going to get back, just disappears. Now, here's what to do instead. If resale value matters to you, then focus on modest, mid-range, timeless upgrades. And here's what I mean by that. Solid, but not crazy expensive cabinets. If the boxes are still good, you can even look at refacing the cabinets, which means sanding them down, repainting the doors, or you can just put new doors on the cabinets. That's also an option too if you're looking to save a little bit of money. When it comes to countertops, focus on durable materials that look high-end but don't cost as much as exotic stone. And I'm talking about some granites, I'm talking about quartz. Stay away from the marble and the other custom exotic stones. You're not going to see a return on that. Focus on durable quartz, granite countertops, things that you're going to see a good return for the amount of money that you put in. Also, make sure that you're focusing on updated lighting and hardware. The data shows that these mid-range options, where you can offer a functional kitchen with some updates, have a much healthier return on investment than blowing the budget and going custom everything for your kitchen. All right, number 3 on our list of home updates that you will regret and not see the return for your money on is over personalized and trendy finishes. And this is something that is huge. You look at a lot of magazines like Architectural Digest and other real estate sources, they often warn of using bold accent walls, ultra modern finishes, or super niche design choices. They can actually devalue your home, because this is what buyers see. They look at that and it doesn't fit their taste. And so they see a project there. They see something that they have to change out. Now, I'm talking about things like loud and trendy tile that will be dated in about 3 to 5 years. I'm talking about highly specific wall colors and murals. I'm talking about custom built-ins designed specifically for your hobbies. Now, these things may make you happy and make it a great home for you, but most buyers aren't shopping with the will I have to paint or rip this out mentality. They don't want to have to deal with that. What if they don't have the same hobbies that you have? What if they don't have the same eclectic taste that you have? They're looking at these things and going, I'm going to have to repaint all these walls. I'm going to have to remove all of these custom additions, these built-ins, these things like that. And people don't want to do that when they're shopping for a new house. So what do you do instead? If you're planning on reselling in the next few years after you update, you might want to keep your big surfaces like flooring, tile, cabinets fairly neutral and timeless, looking at things that are going to stay in style over the years. Also, use removable or easy to change out items like paint, decor, furniture to express your personality. These things are easily changeable, and they can also do a good job of expressing your specific taste and your needs for the property, but they're also interchangeable. You can easily change those things out. And also, one of the things that I recommend that is a great bang for your buck is actually hire an interior designer to help out with selection. That is a minimal cost and high return. These are real estate professionals that are in daily, and you can explain your style to them and they can fit something that goes into your style, but that also is fairly neutral and has a wide appeal for resale value. And always remember, neutral doesn't mean boring. It means broad appeal, which is exactly what buyers pay for. All right, last but not least on our list of home grades you will regret and not see a return on your investment is the tech overloaded or over-engineered home. Now, another area where people will often regret is overloading their home with tech. I'm talking about smart features are great, but building a house around a custom wired in system that only works with certain apps or hardware can actually be a negative. And most real estate advisors often list excessive technology integration as a trend that hurts resale value because the tech gets obsolete very fast and buyers worry about having to maintain and replace that technology. Imagine this, walking into a home where everything, the lights, the blinds, the climate, the speakers, all of that is controlled by an iPad on the wall that's running software from 2018 because no one supports the technology anymore. You're not going to want to buy a house like that. So, what should you focus on instead? Focus on simple modular smart home upgrades. And I'm talking about smart thermostats, smart locks, simple Wi-Fi based lighting. These are things that are easy to swap out or update and don't scare off buyers who just want things to work without a manual. Let me leave you with this. Not every home upgrade needs to be about a return on investment. I understand that. If this is your long-term or forever home and a sunroom, dream kitchen, dedicated music room, tech-filled house brings you joy in your everyday life, then do those things. And don't worry about the resale value later. But if you're likely moving in the next 3 to 7 years, it's smart to slow down, run the numbers, and ask yourself this question: how long will I actually enjoy this upgrade? And how much of that cost will realistically come back to me when I resell this property? And if you're planning on reselling in the next 3 to 5 years and you're wanting to do a remodel, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you're in the Houston area and you want a second opinion before spending tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars, please reach out. All of my contact information is located in the description below. And like I mentioned earlier, I've been involved with hundreds of flips, renovations, all sorts of projects of every kind. So I'm happy to take a look at your renovation plan. I'm happy to break down the real return on investment and help you avoid upgrades that could potentially hurt your resale value. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. And if you've enjoyed it, please make sure you like it, share it with your friends. And also, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and tap the bell so you get all the latest updates about living in Houston and the Houston real estate market. We'll see you next time. Thanks.